Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, and just give me a moment because as always I need to just make sure that I'm able to talk to you guys, because that's the most important point of why we educators come live, so we can make sure that we are talking to you guys. So just a second. Yeah, kind of done with it. Yeah, I'm sure I can see now. Just gonna double refresh it, so because sometimes what happens is I'm not able to see the comments unless I refresh, so I just need to double check. Yeah. So welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to cover the speaking module, and I'll be giving you quick tips and strategies on how you can target a band score of 8. And as you all know, speaking module is kind of generic for both the exams, either general training or the academic. And I'll be taking you through each part of the exam, and we'll be discussing in detail how you can work them out a lot better, because of lately I've been dealing with a lot of students, and they've been coming up with a lot of doubts regarding the speaking module. And I personally feel like, I don't know why, but people are kind of going wrong over preparing for the speaking section in quite the wrong direction. So I'll go ahead and I talk about each part of the speaking test. I'm gonna make sure that I'm clarifying each point in front of you guys. Yeah. So hi guys, I'm Meenaal, and I am gonna be talking to you today about the IELTS speaking section. Hi guys. Okay, why am I not able to? Okay, just a moment guys, just a moment. Yeah, we have John here. Hi John. Ashu is bang on time. Good, Ashu. I'm good, Ashu. Thank you so much for asking. I'm doing good. How are you? How are things? Ashu is always on time. I like that fact. And in case you guys are joining in, keep introducing yourself, guys. Keep introducing yourself as you move on, so I'll know who I'm talking to. John, could you tell me about yourself? I guess I'm seeing you for the first time. Are you attending my class for the first time? Ashu, by the way, have you already decided on the exam date? All those who are joining in, guys, keep introducing yourself. So before I start, a quick introduction about myself. Hi guys, I'm Meenaal, and professionally I'm an architect, and I've done my bachelor's from Birla Institute of Technology, and from there on I moved to London, where I did MArch from A School of Architecture. I have worked in some cities in India, Dubai, as well as in London. As today's class is in context to the speaking module, I have put up my speaking scores here. So I gave IELTS as well as IELTS UKVI. UKVI stands for UK Visa and Immigration, and it is kind of an exam which is considered a bit more authentic if you are planning to go to UK. So if you're very specific about going to UK, make sure you're double checking with the authorities who are taking the exam, because there are some colleges or some universities which are quite specific about the IELTS category you pick on. Okay, so the entire exam pattern is same for both, but it's just that they consider that particular exam a bit more authentic, but it's not necessary. I got selected with giving the normal IELTS only, but just for the UK like visa and immigration purposes, I had to give the IELTS UKVI again. So I put up my speaking scores. I got 7.5 in the IELTS speaking when I gave back in 2016, I guess, and UKVI in IELTS UKVI I got a band score of 8. And I've in fact put up my scorecard in a couple of classes on YouTube as well as special classes, so you can double check how authentic I am. Okay, and I've been taking classes for IELTS, and for it's been around 3 years now, both in India as well as in London. So that's pretty much about me. In case you want to ask anything in context to any particular point, you can definitely ask me, and especially for all those who are planning to go to UK and kind of sure. Actually, I applied in lots of places around the world, because I'm sure everybody at that point of time, they're quite unsure about how they're going to stand in context to the entire world. They don't know how they're going to be reaching, if they're actually capable of reaching the top point, the top colleges, or they should go a little down. So it's kind of a confusing scenario. So I was one of you guys, so I applied in a lot of places too, but then I ended up deciding to move to UK. Ashu's exam is in February, Ashu? John, what am I supposed to call you? Am I supposed to call you John itself? Because there's so many students who will join, I'm sure, very soon, and they have all funny kind of names. But yeah. So you are planning to give IELTS academic, and you are sophomore currently pursuing BCA in Bangalore. Okay, cool. So you're planning to do your master's technically. Yeah. Pachu is back here. Hi Pachu. Pachu, were you there? You were quite excited about the special class. Were you there? I can't recall. Last special class we had like kind of, it was just messed up with too many people joining in, so I don't remember if you were there, because I did not see you. You're quite active in the class though, but I don't remember. Ashu is saying, okay, good. So Ashu, you still have time, isn't it? And you have been listening to us for a long time. I remember you attending my class for a long time. So I'm sure you're getting familiar with the exam pattern already a lot. John is saying, okay, thank God you gave me your real name. It's kind of difficult to catch on with such complicated names. So I'm going to call you Atish. Great. Now Pachu, the best part of Pachu being in class is Pachu will have such interesting questions, and he will put me on spot every time. Every time, guys, no matter which class you're going to watch me, Pachu has written down his question and he does his own homework before coming to the class. So the moment he enters, the questions are on my face. Well done, Pachu, I like that. So how can we improve vocabulary for speaking part 2? A very, very good question, Pachu. Good question. Hold it. The moment I'm going to go through each part of the exam, okay? So I'm going to start with part 1, then go to part 2, and then go to part 3. So keep that, I'll keep that question in mind when I'm discussing part 2, okay? And then you want to know, can you guide me how I should prepare topic wise vocabulary for speaking? Sure. Sure. As I go to each part, I'll keep telling you. Okay? And in case you guys are joining in, all those who are joining in, guys, keep introducing yourself. Keep introducing yourself. So I'm actually not talking to the screen, but I'm actually talking to people. So I currently know Ashu is listening, Pachu is there, and Atish is there. Atish, am I pronouncing your name correct? Now, I'm actually taking courses on speaking at a couple of places. So I thought I'll just briefly tell you also what I'm doing in my speaking courses, right? So the two courses that are currently ongoing on Unacademy. So one is just a moment. Yes. So in case you guys have any questions, you can keep putting it up, and once I take a break from what I'm explaining, I'll go through your questions. Like Pachu already has so many questions. In case you guys have anything related to IELTS, even the exam pattern, not specifically in speaking, if you have anything else also, you can ask me. I'm always open to questions. Okay? Cool. So as I was saying, there are two sets of ongoing courses. One course has just started this Saturday, right? And this is like a weekend batch course running every Saturdays and Sunday, and we were struggling kind of arranging times for students because there's so many people who are kind of busy during the weekdays. So we thought of just bringing out a course. So even if you have like 2 months time, because it's just started on 7th of December and it's going to end by January end. So it's like a 2 months course, but it's going to be running only on the weekends. Okay, and for this course, the top educators are going to be taking each module for you guys. So if you go to my profile on Unacademy and go to the courses and then go to plus courses, you're going to see the description of this course already. Yeah. So there's a demo video as well. So if you're not aware of Unacademy and how the courses are up there, so you need to just go there and press the demo video, and I have described about each and every educator on present over here, and they're also the top educators. So I'm sure if you go to Unacademy, you will get familiar with them. So each of them are handling different modules, and I am starting with the speaking module. Okay, so I'm going to be starting right from the scratch. So even if you don't know anything and you have not prepared anything, you don't have to worry, because I'm going to be handling the speaking module in that. Okay, so actually the first class is technically tomorrow, because it was supposed to be yesterday 5 p.m. I generally take classes on every Sundays at 5 p.m. So that's my schedule. I take every Sunday 5 to 6:30, 90 minutes ki class hoti hai, and I take every Sundays. So that's one course, and the other one is the crash course, which is like one targeted 1 month course. So if you already think that you have a certain level of English and you just have little less time and you want to practice and prepare as per your revision, then you can definitely join this course, because I have structured it down in quite confined way. So you're actually just working out the strategies and you're practicing, working out the strategies and practicing, and no unnecessary information and theory anywhere. Okay. So, and I have just gone through I'm taking the entire course in terms of how you're going to be preparing for your exam as well. Like I've started with the listening module, and currently I'm ongoing with the reading module. So that's like a 1 month course, which is still fresh and new. And the best part is, guys, when you take and these are all plus courses basically. So all these plus courses, you have to take subscription. Okay, so you have to take subscription, and the moment you take a subscription for these courses, even if you take one subscription, ek mahine ka bhi if you take, you are getting access to all the videos, all the courses on Unacademy, to all the educators, and all the old and new videos as well. Okay, and that's one of the most exciting parts of being a plus learner. Yeah. Hi Sumit. I'm so happy that you guys are like up and here in the class already. That's great. Now speaking module is one module. I don't know why people get a bit intimidated, but I'm gonna make sure that you're getting over all your moments of fear. I'm actually happy because I had a student, Sumesh, if you're listening to me, Sumesh came quite late last month, and he had his exam. and he's got his results already. So he sent me his scorecard. I'm really happy. He performed really good in spite of not being from English background. People are performing really good, and I'm very happy that they are finding my courses really productive. Another person, Sura, who also joined like literally last month, and he had like just a couple of weeks left in his hand, and he just finished his exams, and it was his second attempt to give the exam. So that's when he, after giving his first attempt, he had joined me, and his exams have really gone good. Especially he got really stuck in speaking module, because obviously we all get very nervous, and it's okay to get nervous, and but he told me that he did really good. So I'm just hoping that his results are good as well. So quite a happy moment for me. Okay, John is saying, I find it hard to convey my thoughts in English. I have them on mind, but I'm unable to deliver. Okay. Is it because you get nervous, or is it because English is not your first language? What is the key problem, Atish? Anyway, so what I'll do is I'll start with the kind of brief description about speaking module, and then we'll go to each and every part and we'll discuss each and every part of the test in detail. Okay? And all those who are joining in, guys, you can keep introducing yourself so I know you are listening. And if there's anything that is quite unclear or you want me to repeat, you can just ask me anytime. Okay? Okay, so now I'm sure you guys are familiar with the 3 parts of the exam, right? So roughly your speaking test is going to be taking for around 11 to 14 minutes, right? And it will be having an introduction part along with it. There'll be 3 parts, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with it, but if you just started your preparation, you can listen more carefully now. Yeah. So now in your introduction part, they're just going to start the process of the exam, where they'll be checking your ID cards and a basic introduction, knowing your name, and you will be knowing their name. So basic introduction, it's going to take for 30 seconds, and that's not the part where you're basically getting tested. Your actual exam will start after introduction. So they're actually technically giving you a little time to just settle down, relax, and see who the examiner is, look around and just calm down. Okay, so after that 30 seconds, your exam will actually start, where your entire conversation is going to be recorded. Okay, so again, misconception that the only examiner only sitting in front of you will mark you. It's not true. Your entire recording, whatever you speak, whatever the examiner asks you, entire thing gets recorded, and it is heard by a number of people before you finally get your scores. Okay, so the part 1 is your interview, where interview kind of a round, very simple basic questions which I'll explain you, and it roughly takes place for 3.5 to 4.5 minutes. After that, you have the long turn, which actually people find most difficult, but personally I feel it's the most easiest part, because you actually have time to prepare for that. Okay, so that long turn takes roughly for 3 to 4 minutes, and at the end you have your part 3 discussion round, which roughly takes place for 4 to 5 minutes. Which part is the most difficult for you guys? Let me know. So in case I'm bringing up a next video, I can focus on that particular part more. Which part do you guys get more intimidated with? Atish is saying he gets intimidated, not first language, confused in words. Okay, got it. I have a solution for you. I have actually created a list of points, because like by now I'm so familiar with what students face problems in, that I've actually put up points. So don't worry, I'll tell you. Which part, guys? You have to keep communicating with me, or am I not able to see your comments? Which part do you get intimidated? Because see, the best part of commenting and letting your educators know what you're struggling with, because see, the thing is, I have limited number of hours where I can come on YouTube, and there are also free classes on Unacademy, which are special classes. So I have limited hours, so I can make sure that in those limited hours I can actually just come to you guys and give you those points which you are kind of lagging. right? Because most of the time we are dedicated towards plus courses, so we have less time for speaking module. So if you have any suggestion, if you want, there's a topic that you want me to just elaborate a lot more, you can definitely ping me up and tell me, okay? I'm always open for suggestions. So Atish finds part 1 and part 3 a bit difficult. Ashu, part 3, okay, good. Thankfully people are bringing in part 1 as well. What about others? Sumit, where are you? Pachu? Pachu is only come and ask me questions, right, Pachu? And all those who are joining in, guys, keep introducing yourself, because I can see so many people up there. Keep commenting so I know who I'm talking to. Sumit is saying all parts. Wow, Sumit. So basically you have to take classes for all parts, right? And off lately I've just been taking classes for speaking, because every time people are coming to me, they're coming with all questions regarding to speaking module. So now I'm actually like literally taking classes everywhere for speaking. Last session I had on Unacademy as well, the special class, again speaking. Isn't it? Too much speaking these days. Were you guys there on the special class? Mostly 3, okay. Were you guys there on the last special class? Okay, so anyways, so again, couple of things I want to tell. As Atish, you were also telling that you get confused in terms of words, and Pachu was worried about his vocabulary way too much, and his first question was again vocabulary. So Pachu is way too worried about the vocabulary, and Atish is worried about things not coming up on time. Yeah, natural fillers. Yes, natural fillers 1. So guys, first of all, you have to address the fact that when you are preparing, you have to keep all the 4 points in mind, which is actually giving you scores. Okay? You have to be very careful about keeping everything in mind, because the thing is, if you keep worrying about the fact that you're just working on your vocabulary, you're just working on your content, you're not going to be able to score good. This is actually very important for all your 4 modules. Every time you're preparing, keep the markings areas in your head. It's very important, because even if you have so much to talk on and you're not actually working on your grammar or your pronunciation, you're actually losing 25% each. Your 50% of the marks are actually going down. And that's when actually people are not able to jump up from a 6-band score in speaking module. That's where they actually lag. So make sure you're working simultaneously on all their points. You're working in your fluency and cohesion, where you are not necessarily stressing about the fact that you have to speak really fast, right? Or you have to have a very rehearsed sort of a presentation. Not required, because first of all, they just want to see how easy conversations you are bringing up and how familiar you are with any topic that comes up and how comfortable you feel talking about any topic. So at the same time, first of all, guys, since the topics are going to be really easy, which I'm going to show you some examples now, you just have to be casual about when you're talking about it, right? And not take stress about it. That's when content will not come up in your head. The moment you start thinking about the fact that you have to bring up a very intelligent conversation, that's when you run short of topic. Atish, that's what I'm trying to tell you, okay? So that problem happens when you will try to think of sounding very intelligent, bringing up a conversation which is so technical, so like IQ related, so high level. That's where you will lag. If you treat the entire exam as 2 person talking to each other, you're not gonna you're not gonna struggle. you're not gonna struggle, okay? So the key thing is that if you want to be fluent and if you want to have a lot of topic to talk on, keep your entire conversation as easy and as simple as possible. I'll give you examples as we go through, but make sure you're doing it, okay? Keeping the entire conversation as simple as possible, and that's the first thing that I always tell in my speaking class. Jitna kitna convenient rakhoge khud ke liye, you will be able to talk more on that, okay? Next, again, vocabulary, when you were getting worried about. Now, vocabulary is one area which is kind of difficult for most of students. And what happens is, Pachu, are you there? Because I'm going to answer your question now. Sumit said yes to the class. Atish is listening. And in case you guys are joining in, keep introducing yourself. So vocabulary is one area where people get intimidated, and when they are going for the exam and they feel that those words which they memorized the other day is not striking them, they get panicky about it and they lose track of what they were talking. So first of all, don't stress about vocabulary during the exam time. You have to let it loose. You can prepare for the vocabulary before going for the exam, but when you're actually sitting in front of the exam, don't stress about the vocabulary, because if you stress about the vocabulary, you're going to lose track and you're not going to be fluent in what you're talking. You're going to run short of content, you're going to get stressed out, and then you're not going to be speaking properly. Okay? So vocabulary, again, I have put up a course also on building lexical resource on what vocabulary exactly is and how you can actually prepare for the vocabulary. So in case you are coming to Plus, you can get access to that course also, because vocabulary is not just memorizing difficult words, because trust me guys, I'm telling you with my personal experience, if you memorize all these difficult words, they will never pop up in your head when you're giving the exam. Never ever it's going to happen. So first of all, you're wasting your time in just memorizing words, which will first of all get you intimidated during the exam because they will not come to your head spontaneously, and second of all, that is not exactly what the examiner is looking for, so you're automatically just wasting your time, right? Because vocabulary has a certain set of rules which the examiner is actually looking for, so you have to be very specific in looking at them. Now in terms of pronunciation, again, pronunciation is not something where you have to just try and be something over there, because I've seen people just getting grasp of unnecessary accent and they confuse accent with pronunciation. Don't do it. Keep everything simple, because now we as Indians, we have our own sort of a pronunciation. Especially if we are coming from different parts of the country, we all have our own specific pronunciation, so it's all okay. Now don't start mixing it up with accent and saying things which are not sounding correct. It's okay to have native pronunciation, it's just that you should not say it wrong. It's kind of considered as per our culture, okay? We have our own pronunciations. Obviously it's not like if you're going to just twist the word completely, but in terms of how you break and formulate your words, it's acceptable, okay? So don't worry about all that I'm from this part of the country and I have such sort of an pronunciation. For example, the letter H, I've observed all South Indians, they say H, right? They all say H. Like I had a friend from Bangalore, and every time he used to pronounce the letter H, he used to say H, and we say H as North Indian. I'm a North Indian, I say H. So, but again, I'm saying this is all acceptable, so don't worry about these sort of facts. These are not areas where you have to stress yourself about, okay? Bhuvesh is here. Hi Bhuvesh. Tell me about yourself, Bhuvesh. I think Bhuvesh has also joined in for the first time. Atish, did I say that the information about Bangalore correct? Don't you guys say H, H? And all those who are joining in, guys, keep introducing yourself. And all those who are joining in for the first time, just tell me a little bit about yourself so I can communicate and tell you your problems a lot better. Yeah. And last but not the least is something which is a key for all the 4 modules, which is grammar. I'm not going to be telling you that start practicing noun and verb and these kind of things, but trust me guys, there are so many areas where as Indians we tend to just speak wrong over things, and we are so used to of doing that we don't realize it. We are just so used to of those things that we tend to just say it repetitively, and we don't realize it. Okay, so what I did was, in my grammar course, I think I took a grammar course in October, I just put up all points where people are going wrong. Instead of giving you unnecessary descriptions about noun, pronoun, verb, I had a course where I just put out all those points where people are going wrong. So in case you're coming to Plus, you can get access to that course as well. Okay, so that's pretty much how you have to be very careful and attentive in preparing your exam. Okay, keep these 4 points in mind. These are giving you scores, and not just the content. Okay, now we start with the part 1. We'll be going to part 1, part 2 and part 3, and I'm going to briefly tell you what is the right approach to prepare these modules. Okay, so Atish pronounces the same way, although I hail from Tamil Nadu though, the study in Bangalore. Okay. No, generally I feel like not just from Bangalore, is most of the South Indians have this kind of a thing. I realized I had so many friends, like my college was quite dominated by South Indians, even though we were in North India. But we had a lot of because it was that time we used to have this IEEE ranking, and it was one of the top colleges. So these South Indians, I personally feel, are very smart in getting all good ranks, all India ranking. So we had a lot of South Indian students. So that's how I'm very familiar with the pronunciation of South India. Yeah. So I had friends from Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andhra, yeah. So they have a kind of a different sort of a pronunciation for different letters. So it's all acceptable again. Yeah. Any questions till now, or should we start the part 1? Anybody has any questions? Bhuvesh, you did not tell me about yourself. And keep commenting. So once I stop, I can just go through all your points. And all those who are joining in, I'm saying again, guys, it's going to be great if you'll keep introducing yourself and keep telling me about what you're struggling with, so I can actually get a gist of things, what all are happening with you, what you're struggling with. So maybe I can help you a lot better in that way, instead of just giving you quite generic points. Okay, so let's start with the part 1. So all those who don't find part 1 difficult, guys, trust me, I find part 1 the most difficult, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so your part 1 is your interview round sort of a part, right? So first of all, in your introduction part, you'll be getting 2 topics to talk over. They're going to ask you in terms of your very personal informations, right? And the topics could be somehow related to either your hometown, your neighborhood, or your work. If you mention that you're working, they're going to ask you in terms of work or studying, questions about friends and family, questions about either hobbies, food, or sports. Now, the moment you see these topics, the first thing that strikes to your head is, it's such an easy topic, isn't it? We don't have to worry about anything. And guys, trust me, the topics are always so easy, because this part is always, I remember when I went for the exam, and the examiner actually told me that he explained how the structure of the exam will be, and technically that part 1 is just to get you a little boost up, to get you a little prepared. And so that's when they bring out this topic where they ask you really easy questions, right? So you have to just use this time to settle down and just relax that, you know, the questions are all kind of comfortable and you can actually talk over them, so everything is kind of cool, okay? But the trick is, guys, now see, all the topics are so easy, but as I was saying, I find this part the most difficult. Why? Is because the questions are going to be framed in such a way that you will want to answer in one word, or even if max to max you would think of giving an answer would be a single sentence. Now that's when the entire conversation becomes difficult, because you don't know, the question is so easy and single sentence answers that it suddenly gets very intimidating ki iske baad what am I supposed to say, what am I supposed to say after this? It gets suddenly blank, right? For example, if they ask you what are your hobbies, I would maybe just say in a single sentence, and that's when it suddenly gets tricky that what am I supposed to say next? Am I getting deviated from the topic too much? Am I saying something quite unnecessary? Am I supposed to speak more? So many questions start popping up every time like we have the speaking part 1, and that's actually, I still remember no, actually, like I remember the question that I got for my speaking part 2 in my IELTS UKVI, and I also remember this small incident that happened with me in the part 3. So as I'll be going ahead, I'll keep telling you about it. So it's always to know about bad events, so you're gonna feel good that even with bad events, people can still get band scores of 7.5 and 8, because I got 7.5 in IELTS and I got IELTS UKVI I got 8. So I'll tell you, even if you go wrong, you can still score good. So, but there's a way to go wrong also. So I'm going to tell you. So you keep hold for that. So again, as I was saying, speaking part 1 becomes tricky in terms of extending and elaborating your answers. So you have to be very smart enough to just keep talking, and for every question, now this is for the entire speaking module that I'm giving a suggestion for, that you have to make sure that the examiner gets fed up of you, that this person is annoying me, we just need to finish the questions quickly. Yeah, so you have to just keep on talking until unless the examiner asks you to stop. You have to be just very talkative for that day. Okay, now you can be talkative as long as you don't think of a very high level difficult sort of a conversation. As long as you'll be able to talk a lot if you're keeping the entire conversations very subtle. Now just like that, since I'm sitting, like for example, I'm sitting in front of you and I'm just trying to, that's why I'm just trying to talk to you guys in as simple way as possible, so you can understand what I'm trying to say, so you can actually get connected and ask your problems with me, right? The moment I start talking some next level, high level sort of a conversation, I will myself lose track of what I'm talking. So if you want to actually build up a conversation where you want to be very talkative and you don't want to get intimidated and you don't want to run short of content to talk about, you have to keep the conversation very easy. And in one of my classes, I've actually I think it was maybe Plus, I've given quite different ways on how you can actually do this. Okay, and one of my favorite ways is to use examples from a day-to-day life. Like for examples also, I describe examples on 2 categories and I say this is 1, this is 2. So I generally use examples to elaborate more and give very easy examples as to what I did yesterday, maybe what I'm planning to do tomorrow, or maybe what my friend just did last night. Anything simple, but you have to keep extending your conversations as much as possible until unless the examiner is asking you to be quiet. So never give one-word answers and never give one-sentence answers, no matter how easy the question is, and no matter how much the question is tempting you to give one single sentence answer, you will not do it. You'll keep talking about it. Okay, so this is one part which I get intimidated. Okay, now for your part 2. Now part 2 is actually one part which I personally feel like it's kind of like a relief, because I'm still getting some time to actually think about what I'm gonna talk. Otherwise your part 1 and part 3 are all impromptu conversations. You have to keep talking about them, isn't it? Because you don't get time. The person is asking you, you're answering, again question, again answer. Unlike that, part 2 gives you a little bit more time to actually prepare. So first of all, please just remove that psychological stress of part 2 being the most difficult. Can you please guys do that for me? Part 2 is just considered to be like a big buster exam. I don't know why. So just let it loose. You're actually getting time to prepare in this part. So it's technically the easiest part, because you are writing down your emotions and then you're just expressing it. So it's a lot easy in comparison to the other parts. Yeah? Okay. Any questions till now? Any questions in context to part 1? Obviously, I'll be explaining a lot more in my Plus courses. As I said, I'm starting a batch course. So every Sunday I'll be coming. Even in my crash course, I'm currently doing speaking course. And after speaking, I'm doing writing and speaking. Everything I'm covering in this month as well. So I'll have, since I have more time there, I'm able to cover everything more. But I'm just briefly giving you a gist of how things go, okay? Okay, so let me see a couple of comments here. Bhuvesh is saying he's unable to speak structurally and it becomes chaotic many times. Okay, now that's something that you have to actually work, Bhuvesh, because structure, if you are not able to structure your content, you're going to lose marks. Yeah, and that becomes a very, very important point. But as I was saying you again right now, as long as you don't find a topic or you don't prepare your content in terms of giving out a very intelligent conversation, it's going to be cool. You have to just structure your story how you're going to be structuring to your friend. Do you have to prepare when you talk to your friend? No, right? You can just get up and just talk about any topic to your friend without preparing. It's just that when you go for the exam, you have to be a little formal in terms of your conversation, slightly more formal, but the topics are still the same as to what you talk to your friends. Okay? Bhuvesh, you're from Delhi preparing for general training. That's great, Bhuvesh. I love Delhi. Delhi is my favorite city in the entire world. Yeah. Okay, so Atish, everything is clear. Speak in part 1. Yes, Bhuvesh, we'll do it. So as I was saying, I'm doing the same thing in my Plus because I don't have so much time right now. So we have a limited amount of time that we can go free on the platform. That's why I asked you guys if there's any particular point which you want me to discuss more. You can message me on, I'll share my social media profiles. So I can maybe, if there's a lot of more, there are more votes coming on that particular topic, if you want me to take class over on the free platform, I can bring it up. Okay? Now part 2, I'm sure you guys know that in part 2 you get 1 minute to prepare on. So you get a topic and then you get some sort of a pen and a paper to actually quickly gist down to actually prepare whatever you're gonna speak. Now why I was saying this part is actually very easy, because first of all, again, even in this part, your entire topics are gonna be very easy. Now topics such as journey, family, language, music, sport. Now I'm going to tell you, I still remember the question that was asked to me. The question was in terms of my socializing with my best friend, or it was something in context to that. Okay, I still remember that. And again, even in this part, your conversation, your topics are going to be really, really easy. And it's going to be so easy that you can actually talk about from your real life. But if you're going to start stressing about the fact that you have to please the examiner in terms of how intelligent you are, then you're gonna start fumbling and then you're gonna stress yourself. Okay, but there's now the 1 minute that you get to prepare, along with it you have a pen and paper to put down your points and get time to actually structure them out. Now this 1 minute, if you're able to utilize properly and correctly, you will have so much to actually talk on. And still there are actually chances that that 1 minute content that you prepared is actually over before the 2 minutes gets over, right? But again, I have actually, like, I'll be discussing again on, you have to, I'll be discussing again with it in more details as the moment I take speaking part 2 in detail. But there are again strategies to elaborate your answers even if you miss short on other than what you actually prepared on your paper. So even preparing that 1 minute on your paper needs to have a very strategic approach. Okay, that 1 minute, and I have a very smart strategy to work out that 1 minute. Okay, so working out that 1 minute, because it's what happens with some, I've just realized over time, what people do is they use their 30 seconds in maybe scribbling down something, and in the last 30 seconds what they do is they start practicing on in their head that they're framing sentences, and that's, first of all, that's a wrong way, guys. You're getting that 1 minute to actually put down your thoughts on paper. So make sure you're using that 1 minute, and there's a strategy which I'll discuss in detail, and I'm doing that in my plus as well, where you will actually put down all your content in 1 minute, and then let's just set yourself free to have an impromptu conversation. Okay, but make sure you are just using that 1 minute to stuff as much information as possible. But again, you cannot do page reading, you cannot just read things from your page. So at the end of the day, it's anyways going to be an impromptu conversation. So just use that 1 minute to set yourself loose and prepare, right? And again, for that entire 2 minutes, you will keep talking. You will not keep a track of the time yourself. You're going to let the examiner do the job that is assigned to that person. So they're going to tell you when to stop and when to start. You will make sure that you are talking and talking and talking and not stopping until unless the examiner is asking you. So even if your content runs short of what you thought of you're going to finish in 2 minutes, you can still have immediate ideas of elaborating your answers, which I'll discuss with you. Okay, which I'll discuss with you in the plus courses. Now part 3 is like, honestly, it's again a little bit more difficult in terms of part 2, which I feel part 3 is kind of difficult. It's kind of still in context to the difficulty level that I was saying in part 1. Again, the questions are not going to be very difficult, but you have to understand the fact that it's going to be, they're going to ask you your opinions. They are interested to know what you think about those particular points. ठीक है कि आपको, first of all, your entire part 3 discussions is going to be roughly taking place for 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, guys, are you able to hear me? Because when I am not able to, let me just refresh this thing here. Guys, you're able to hear me, right? Can you just double check? Can you just comment and let me know if you can hear me? Because the thing was just buffering, I don't know why. Okay, great. Great. So you, first of all, your part 3 is going to be roughly taking for 4 to 5 minutes roughly. And the number of questions that will be asked to you is quite variable depending on how long answers you give, right? Sometimes they might ask you 7 questions, they might ask you 8 questions. Now that all depends on how well you answer each question and how much time you're taking to answer each question. Now that's a variable, okay? There's no fixed number that you'll be asked 10 questions only, or they're going to ask you 8 questions only. It's not necessary, okay? Now the part 2 topic that you get is sort of a follow up in part 3, because everything that they will be asking you will be have some sort of a connection with your part 2 topic only, right? And even like I remember, like I had given examples in my plus courses where you will see all your part 3, your part 1, part 2 and part 3 questions, all of them have some sort of a connection. They are just like a follow up. Now, even though your part 1 might be a topic related to your very day-to-day life, they will still have some sort of connection with the overall. So they have one page which have all the 3 questions that are sort of formulated with the same content, but obviously the questions will keep revolving around, will keep modulating, but more or less your subject will be the same for part 1, part 2 and part 3, all of them. Okay, so once we start preparing in terms of the entire sets, so I'll give you sets to prepare, so part 1, part 2, part 3, okay, because then you'll see the connections going, or like all together at one go. Now I personally feel that this is one part of the exam where you can just show off your language as much as possible. You can just let yourself loose and just use as much vocabulary, as much fluency that you can show, because you actually, like, this is, since it's like a 2-person talking to each other, it's like a to and fro sort of a conversation. The person asks you and you're giving your answers, and again, since all the questions are going to be in terms of where they are trying to ask you your thoughts, your feelings and your emotions, so you can actually bring out your point of view. You can let the examiner know what you're thinking about the topic. So even if it's the silliest of the answer, you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry it being the silliest of the answer. Maybe if, like, actually, like, there were a couple of there was this guy who messaged me on Instagram and had very genuine questions, and I remember just taking out my Instagram questions in one of the class because they were really genuine questions. I still remember there was this topic about there was one question I remember right now. He asked me that he struggles to find content, and as somebody was saying here, that it just becomes blank on what to talk, and I told him, talk about very general things, talk about things that give you a lot more content, talk about yourself, talk about your personal experiences, bring out stories about you, yourself, your family, your friends, talk about these things. Start developing a connection with the topic in context to these guys. You will always have content. Then he just gave me a question. He sent me a question, ma'am, this is the question, and I personally feel the first thing that comes to my head is about my mom getting sick and quite a depressing personal experience. That's the thing that comes to my head. And he asked me if I can say this. And the first and obvious answer is yes, you can. Because first of all, whatever you speak in front is not going out, okay? Whatever you speak in front of the examiner is not going out, and if there's any bad experience also in your life that is giving you good marks, why not use them? Why not use them? So whatever topic it is, even if it's a personal experience, if it's an emotional experience, if you sound silly, these are things that is not your key areas, because all that the examiner is trying to look at is basically your language skills, and they're not at all concerned about what sort of content you bring up. So you can keep everything simple, stay as connected as possible, and talk about everything that gives you a lot more content. Now again, in this particular part, there's one difficulty which I was discussing the other day. Yes, because I've been taking classes on speaking so much. Yeah, anyways, so sometimes I remember this because it happened with me. The questions are sometimes maybe sometimes they put up little difficult in terms of how they express the question. So even if you don't understand a question at any point, or there's a particular word that you did not understand, you don't have to panic about it, right? I still remember there was this entire one question when I was giving IELTS UKVI, and I did not get the question at all. So even I made sure that I asked the examiner back about what, to just repeat the question, and even after repeating I went blank because I did not understand what the question was and what answer is it expecting me to answer. So I kind of reframed it in a way where I'm kind of asking the examiner for an explanation of what the question is, and the examiner actually explained, yeah. And but there's a certain way, as I was saying, there's a certain way to do it, and there's a limited number of ways you can actually do it. But yes, so even if all those problem happens, that is still actually a part of where you're showing that yes, you have confidence over your language. It's not necessary that you're going to be understanding everything in the world, but as long as you're speaking English, having a communication in terms of showing your and expressing your skills, it's okay. And I still managed to get a band score of 8, even if messing it up, I still got it. Yeah, so even if you guys are struggling with it, don't worry, it's all good. Okay. Now, a couple of difficult areas where people tend to just fumble over are, now again, don't keep your answers short, but first and foremost, make sure that you are answering whatever the question is asking. So you're done with your task achievement. So make sure that in a single line you have answered the question, and after that you can start talking about anything related to that topic. Okay? But in single line, make sure that you answered the question, and then keep elaborating. Okay. Now, first of all, again, as I was saying, people tend to consider it difficult, but guys, it's more or less, it's kind of an opinionated question where they want to know your point of view. You can have the silliest of the point of view possible on earth, but that is absolutely okay, because the target is to speak about it, not think about it in terms of answering fancy. That's not how you're going to be getting scores. That's, if you prepare it in that way, you're going to get intimidated, you're going to lose track. Okay. Now, even if you don't listen and don't fully understand the questions, I told you I have there's a certain way to do it, there's a certain approach to do it, especially in your part 3. It's kind of obvious that there are sometimes you don't understand the question, or there are words that are coming up that you don't understand, but you just have to prepare yourself in how you're going to be expressing them. Okay. So that's pretty much about the part 3. Now I'm going to give you quite generic points about the overall speaking module as well. Now, first of all, the topics are, since the topics are very casual, right? But so you can have a friendly conversation, but even that friendly conversation, you have to keep it very formal. As I was saying, you have to treat it like you're talking to your friend, right? But with a formal tone, with a formal language. Okay. But just keep it very simple. Now, again, in terms of vocabulary, all those who are worrying about this, vocabulary is not something that you need to be worrying about, because they just want you to not use quite very day-to-day low-level words such as bad, good. You know, just go a step ahead and use a little more better words. And again, another thing that they check in vocabulary is that you're not repeating one word again and again. Right? For example, if you are talking about the weather, so if you used pleasant already, make sure you're just using different words. So they're kind of seeing how diverse your language is. So make sure you're just kind of formulating it in quite different ways. Okay, you're not just repeating the same thing over and over again, and this is not going to happen just one fine day. You actually have to work on it, right? And so that's why there are so many ways to do it. Actually, there's so many ways, and I've actually put up a course last month which was building lexical resource, and the course is actually available on my Unacademy profile. So even if you want to see what topics I covered, you can definitely go to my profile and give a look there. And I have discussed in detail about how in easy ways you can actually express the same emotion in quite different ways, instead of just sitting and memorizing difficult words. Okay. Now again, you have to always make sure that you're expanding your answers and you're not giving one word replies, and you're talking till the time the examiner is asking you to be quiet. Okay. Now, next very important point is don't speak with a monotone, right? You have to show your expressions, your emotions. When you're happy, you're excited, you have to have like a pitch up. When you are not, you're coming down to a point, you're talking about quite sad emotion, you're kind of becoming a bit, you know, toned down. When you're showing surprise, right? You're kind of getting up. you're kind of showing all those sort of connections, because that shows that you are not rehearsed, you are comfortable with what you're talking, you're confident. So make sure you are modulating your tone when you're talking to a person. And this is, again, we do it generally day to day, but obviously since in the exam time we get intimidated, so we lose track of that. But make sure you are calming yourself down. First and foremost, the key way to perform better in the speaking module is to calm yourself down, that it is not a difficult thing. Trust me. Just have to have, like, before going for the exam, you need to just have a cup of tea and just look at the sky and be like, oh damn, I'm gonna do good in this, because it's not difficult. Okay, sorry for the lame joke though. Next one is, don't deviate too much from the topic. But again, there's a smart way. Even if you run short of a content on that particular topic, you can make the other conversation that you're doing, you can use language to just use that other part which is not so much in context to it, but you can use language to show some sort of a fluidity, that the main topic is actually kind of having a connection with whatever you're saying. You can use language to actually show that connection with the main subject. So even if you want to deviate, you have to be very smart in deviating the context, because you have to show that it is following up from the main subject. It is like a sub part of the main subject, and you have to be using your language to do that. Okay, there's another very good ways to do it. Now again, don't speak too quickly, don't go very slow, or don't speak very quietly. If you go quickly, you're going to lose track, you're going to run short of content, you're going to start fumbling. So don't go too fast. Slowly shows lack of confidence, and it sounds more or less like that you actually are not confident on what you're talking. So keep a very moderate speed of what you talk, right? Now, if you talk quietly and the examiner is not getting your words correctly and there's some sort of a confusion, then again you're losing track there. Okay? Now again, don't worry about accent, please guys. Don't start faking up any accent and prepare yourself in any accent, since like it's an international exam, I understand, but if you're going to do that, you're going to be deviating yourself and you're going to be losing track. Don't do anything during the exam day which will intimidate you unnecessarily. You have to eliminate all those options. And again, keeping track of time is not something that you have to do. Leave things on the examiner. Just release yourself of things as much as possible. So time is not something that you're going to be tracking on. You're going to leave your watch outside. Okay? Make sure you're not keeping a time, leave it completely for the examiner. Yeah? Bhuvesh, lexical resource, yes. Lexical resource is in context to the vocabulary. Now again, as I was saying, there's a batch course that is going, which will be running every weekend. We just started this Saturday. It's going to be running every Saturday and Sunday, and I am dealing with speaking. Like, these are all 4 top educators, and each of them are going to be handling the different modules. I'm handling the speaking module. So it's a 2 months course which is just started, and I'm going to make sure you get all over with your fears in speaking. Okay, so I'm taking speaking in that, and with the crash course as well, I'm covering all the 4 modules. I have finished with listening and I've just started with reading, and in 1 month I'm going to cover all the 4 modules. So technically December has actually an option where you can learn all the 4 modules at same go, which is quite unlike the other months. So I guess it leaves no room and no chance of why you should not join in December. Actually, December is the peak time, guys, because I'm sure all of you, like, if you're planning to move out or the following year, you want to finish your exams by January. So January, February max, isn't it? Because you want to put up your application by February and maximum. So there are quite exciting courses going on December, and if you want to learn speaking or even with in the batch course, or if you want to learn the 4 modules from me, you have to take a subscription for these courses. Okay, and if you go to my Unacademy profile and you go to the courses, both these courses are present. And even with one subscription that you take, I'm going to tell you about the prices. One subscription, 1 month ka subscription also if you take, you're actually getting access to all the courses on Unacademy. You are getting access to all the old videos, present videos, everything. Okay, and you are also getting access to not just listen to me, but to listen to all the educators on Unacademy. So you're actually getting so many plus points. And plus, even in case you miss any course, if you miss any class live because you were busy, the videos are actually up there after an hour on the website, so you can actually see those videos even if you miss the classes. And there's again an option of downloading the PDF as well, so you can download them. Okay, so if you want to attend those classes, you have to get a subscription. Right now there are a couple of options for the subscriptions which are written here. You have options of 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. Now how much of a time you have, you can take. And December, as I said, it's giving you an option of actually learning all the 4 modules. So you can just take a 1 month maybe and see how things work for you. Yeah, now for that you have to, if you want to take it, you can also use my referral code. You will have an option to fill up the referral code, which is Fatma Meenaal. It will be actually giving you a 10% discount. Okay, and if you're watching my videos also and you're seeing videos on Unacademy, by the now you will have credit scores. So if you open your profile on the website, you're going to see at top right side you have credit scores. You can in fact use your credit scores as well and get additional 10% discount. So more or less you're getting 20% discount on the present prices as well. And if you actually have your exam in December itself, and so I'm actually kind of considerate for those people, I give additional discounts in that case. So other than 20%, I can actually give you more additional discount in case you have less time and you're still planning to join us. So it will be great if you guys could do it and join me very quickly, because there are actually no reasons as of to why you would not do. There's so many advantages, and trust me, out of all the platforms that I could go, I chose to come here because in terms of finances also, it's really cheap, guys. You're not going to find anything cheaper than this. I can just guarantee you, because I've been a student myself. And first of all, since you are giving a very expensive exam, these amount of money are literally nothing. Right, these amount of speaking, these amount of prices are actually nothing, because you're giving a very expensive exam. And I've seen people giving the exams over and over again, and that's not going to help you guys. Trust me, you can maximum get 6.5. If you actually want to jump from 7 above, 7.5, 8, you have to put in little more effort, which I can actually help you in. Okay, so try coming up. And again, there are also quizzes as well as mega quizzes coming up. Now for any time frame exam in your you have to assess your performance, because depending on your performance, I will be tracking your performance, and I'll be modulating your individual performance and suggesting you things and helping you accordingly. So in your Plus subscription, you also have weekly quizzes. You also have a mega quiz at the end of the course to assess your performance, right? And also the best part again is, after every 3 class, you have a doubt clearing session, right? So no matter where you get the question from, we sit and discuss live. So even if you've written a report, I go live through each and every word and discuss and tell you how you can get better, right? And since, as I was saying, we have a lot more time on Plus, so I actually treat everybody who takes my subscription personally. Bhuvesh is saying something. Bhuvesh is saying, ma'am, you will take a paid mock-up for speaking. Do brief about it. On which platform, like Skype or Instagram? Speaking in terms of paid mock-ups, if you are coming to my Plus courses, I keep that a part of it. I take telephonic conversations. I do telephonic exams. But if you want to insist on you want to come live in terms of presence, we can definitely go through Skype as well. But I generally do telephonic as of now. But if you have a suggestion of Skype, I don't mind. But that's going to come under the subscription as well. So that's again a part of it. I don't take additional payment for that. It's going to be a part of it, because anyways I'm teaching speaking in the badge course. So that is something I will do for all those who are taking my subscription under my name. If they're using my referral code and coming to Unacademy, I make sure that I do it. Because in speaking module, that's again a key part, right? Until unless you have a test where you're speaking to someone and testing, there's no point. Yeah, so I'll take the test, and I'll, depending on your answers, I'm going to tell you how much you can actually score in your exam as well. Okay, is it clear, Bhuvesh? Now, other than this, in case you have anything else, and in case you want to talk about any courses or any prices, these are my social media profiles. This is on Telegram, Instagram and Facebook. So I'm available everywhere at any point. So you can definitely ping me up if you want to have a chat about anything that we discussed. Yeah. Bhuvesh is saying, how about only paid speaking mocks? No, it's going to be part of it, Bhuvesh. It's going to be part of it. The prices are going to remain the same. So even for example, if you take 1 month and you just want to learn speaking with me, I don't mind. You can just attend speaking classes and I can take your mocks, but the prices are going to remain same. There's no specific points that if you're going to take my speaking mocks, can I do this, can I pay separately? No, I'm teaching from a platform, right? I'm coming from a brand, I'm coming from a company, so we have certain rules and norms. So I can take all the speaking mocks, but that's going to be under the certain mentioned payment areas as well, because that is, as I said, I am going to be doing it for all those who are taking my subscription, because I am teaching speaking. So there are people who have actually come specifically, have taken my courses specifically for speaking. So I will be doing that. So even for the batch course, which is running for 2 months, December and January, I'm taking classes every Sunday 5 p.m. So there are people who have specially joined me for speaking. So they just want to listen speaking. So I'll be handling the speaking part in that. And other than that, the crash course that is present, there I take all the 4 modules. So that depends on you now, what you want to learn. But the subscription charges remains the same. So using my referral code will give you 10% discount, using credit scores will get you 10% discount. If you have your exams within 10-15 days, I can show a little more mercy and give you additional discounts. But for that, you'll have to message me on the social media profiles. Okay? Yeah, Bhuvesh, I answered. Any more questions? Otherwise, I'll take a leave. If you have any questions, if you want to have, Bhuvesh, if you want to have any further conversation, आपको कुछ बात करनी है, let's have a conversation about what you just asked me. Message me on any of the social media profiles, and we'll take it from there. ठीक है? So I hope you liked the video, and if you liked it, do give a thumbs up, and please stay tuned for more videos. And thanks a lot for tuning in. So take care. Bye bye. And you guys have a great day. Take care. Bye bye.